This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
7.
Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we do encourage you to like and share them on social media because Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce now presents Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Nutrition World and hosted by Joanne Seeger.
Thursday. I'm just hearing all wonderful sounds right now.
It helps
in
when
the
it works.
studio. Yes, but you see we're missing our headsets, right? We were just having so much fun this morning, talking and laughing, that I just realized that myself and my beautiful guest has no headset on. But it's okay. Cliff is an expert in this field, so he'll get us hooked up. All right, so this morning, I hope everyone's having an incredible morning. I'm so glad you joined us. For any newbies, welcome to the show. But for all my regulars, get ready for the breathing exercise. And my beautiful guest, Sabrina Lawton, is here with us in the studio. Good morning, Sabrina. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Good morning, Joanne.
See how tempting it is to talk and look at each other, right? So we're looking at these cameras. And so if anyone wants to watch us live, you can. And remember, you can, if you're not in a car, if you're in your car and you step into work, just, bring us up live on your computer or your smartphone. There's always lots of ways to listen to us. And this is a live call-in show, so 340-1590 if you'd like to talk to myself or my guest.
The cool thing about calling the show and asking questions is later when we actually produce a video of the show and put it in the archives on YouTube, you'll be able to hear yourself.
There you go, which I usually try never to do. Okay, so all right, so let's start with the breathing exercise. All right, so I'm going to give instructions to Sabrina and any newbies listening. So we're going to first exhale out any drama, stress, any crazy thoughts we have going on, and then we're going to inhale for 5 using our nose only, hold for 5, and exhale for 5. And Cliff is the expert counter, so he's going to do this 3 rounds. So remember, slow and steady, and please do not use your mouth, only your nose. All right, so everyone, let's exhale out any stressors we might feel. Just relax the shoulders, the good posture. Okay, close your eyes if you're not
all
driving.
Negativity out.
All right, Here we go. Ready, guys?
Release
exhale.
the negativity. Exhale. All right, now
Okay.
begin through the nostrils. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release. 2, 3, 4, 5. And one more time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 3, 4, 5. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you, Cliff.
I'm glad I caught up with that.
I lost count. I just kept going.
I keep counting in my head, and I realize, oh my goodness, we're flying through this.
I think all our listeners kind of catch on. No worries. And Sabrina, how was that for you? Did that feel good?
That was fantastic, Joanne.
Yeah, and we always make a joke on the show because we've been doing this for so many years. It's like it's free and it's available for everyone, and you can continue this all day long.
And 9 out of 10 physicians agree
Yes, highly
that breathing
recommend this.
is good for you.
Absolutely.
So Sabrina and I have, I think, a super cool story. So let's start this conversation with how I came in touch with her. So my very wonderful, good friend, great customer, Celia, was at the store. Like, she always pops in and visits and always brings a big smile and happiness pretty much everywhere she goes. And she was trying to tell me about this amazing book and woman that she met and how she was at this leadership function, and it really impacted her. I mean, I saw such passion in her eyes and her body language, and she's like telling me like in 30 seconds about this yoga flow stuff. And just, she's like throwing all these names at me, and I was like, Celia, can you believe I have a friend helping out at the store and I get to leave early with my husband? So can I just take a picture of this book, and I promise you we'll engage in a conversation later. And that's not my usual. Usually Matt and I are always there 6 days a week and doing our thing. So we were excited to have this afternoon off. And so I took a picture of the book. We scoot out, we visit a friend, and then we're like, well, we don't have, it's too early for restaurants because it's like that in-between time. Let's go to the coffee house that's by our house. We heard great things. So we walk into this coffee house and we order these little mini slider of coffees, and a lot of them are really decadent, and I'm like, I want to relax and make this a moment. Let's sit down at their cool little game table, and what is on the coffee table but the book? And I'm like, wow, this is the book Celia was talking about. So of course I call her right away. I'm super excited, and I'm like, Celia, you're not going to believe this. We just happened to decide to come to this coffee shop near our house, and the book that you just talked to me about is on here, and it has a beautiful inscription for the coffee store owners. And I start going through it as I'm on the phone with her, and I'm talking to her on the phone just saying, wow, this is so my cup of tea. This is so incredible, and what a great story. And I'm excited with Celia, and I'm like, please, reach out to her. I want to meet her. I want her to come to the store. I want to start a relationship with her, right? And Celia gets so excited. She says, okay. And then I see this couple, and then this woman with the little tap on the shoulder. Hi, I just want to introduce myself. Well, there is the author right there, 6 feet away from me. And there it begins, Sabrina, our relationship. And so right away, of course, 10 minutes later, after falling in love with her, I'm like, okay, can you come to my show? Can you come to my store? So isn't that amazing, right?
So divine. Can't make this stuff up.
Can't make this stuff up. So I find your journey, because I did read your book, which of course, if Celia doesn't, so afterwards, everyone, Sabrina is coming back to the store to do a little book signing, but I have to put the word out there that my beautiful friend Celia might try to grab and snag all those copies. So if you can go on Amazon and purchase them, but I would love for you to meet her. So hopefully we have enough books for everyone, but if not, no worries. We can always get the books later, and you definitely want to meet her. Great energy, beautiful soul. So Sabrina, let's start with how did you find your way to becoming an author? That's a little intimidating in general, right? So like everyone has cool stories, but you put it to print, which is, it took a lot of confidence, I feel. So tell me your story. How did this come to be?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, Joanne.
You're welcome.
And thanks for that divine appointment with Celia, by the way. If you're listening, we appreciate you so much, Celia.
Yes.
I'll say that it was really my life experiences, right? The culmination of our life experiences. I believe we go through so much in life, and that gives us an opportunity to share how we've grown and what we've learned. And so, just to give a little bit of background, I was born in Compton, California. The value of education was not instilled in me. And no fault to my parents. Sometimes we expect or look for our parents to give us something, but then we later realize that they couldn't give us something that they had a difficult time giving to themselves. And so that's where forgiveness comes into play. And then we can actually look at our experiences and find a way to say thank you, because they truly do shape who we are, good, bad, or indifferent. And so with that, my mother being a teenage mom, my father in and out of prison all my life. In fact, he's still in prison serving a life prison sentence to this day. There was a lot of pain and a lot of trauma, but there was also a force with me. And that pain and that trauma and that sort of sadness that I experienced as a child had me to keep asking this question: what's the meaning of life? there was another desire and longing for me, and that was that people would just love one another. People would just be kind to one another. People would just recognize each other's gifts and lift each other up. So that was a longing that I had from a very early age. And so as life would have it, as I was around 18 when I decided, well, you better do something with your life. You better, get your high school equivalent. It was really, from that point, I was looking for love in all the wrong places and all the wrong faces. And so I happened to find a friend who was very near and dear to me at that time. And he offered me a job working for his father's small company. I was doing payroll administration. I was about 18 years old at that time. Doing payroll administration, did that for about 2 years. And then I decided to try my hand at something bigger. I started to reach for a higher goal. If I could do this payroll admin, I could do anything. So I applied for a job at Safeco Insurance. I found myself on the 15th floor, 15th story, beautiful view, doing payroll administration. And within about 6 months of employment, they invited me to become a leader, to become a part of their management staff. So you can imagine, to my surprise, I said yes. I was bewildered, but of course I said yes. And in hindsight, what I believe they saw in me was that intangible skill of bringing that desire for love, bringing that desire to lead with love and to see people where they are as something that was valuable to leadership and valuable to the company. And so there began my 16-year leadership career in corporate America, where I managed $10 billion contracts, traveled, for contract liaison for Fortune 500 companies. And in 2013, that journey was abruptly ended with a car accident. And that car accident really awakened me to another part of myself that was sleeping. And that was the part of me that didn't love myself. That was a part of me that didn't receive those messages growing up. That little girl who still needed to know she was okay, that she was well. And so with that car accident, I found myself face planted into the ground, asking God to, hey, everything the world taught me, I give it to you. Everything I think my value is as a woman, I give it to you. I'm empty. You're going to have to show me who I am. And one word was an impression in my spirit, and that word was evolve. And I thought to myself, what does evolve have to do with anything? In fact, I argued back with that voice. What does evolve have to do with anything? And the voice responded as an impression deep within, silent, still voice said, look, if you are going to evolve, you must love yourself. If the world is going to evolve, it must love. The words love are in evolve. So I opened my eyes, I grabbed a Sharpie, I wrote the word evolve. The first 4 letters were love. I never went back to corporate America. There I began my journey to understanding everything I could about what love is through what I call the basic instructions before leaving Earth, the acronym I use for the Bible, and just understood the sciences of love and the energy of love. And I began to love myself, and then I began to create an organization called Evolve to Love, Love to Evolve, to help others to do the same. Travel through that darkness to find peace with that, find a way to say thank you, and in doing so, find your way to the light.
Wow. Okay. That was some intro there, girl. Woo. Okay. All right. I was hanging on every word. All right. So everyone probably can see why I love her already. She's just amazing. And I want to mention, because I forgot before that beautiful intro, is the name and the names of each of your books. So Each Day a Gift is the one that I have gone through and I absolutely love. And I'm already thinking of all the people I can gift it to. It's not only do you personalize it, with experience, but it gives you, an exercise each day that really anyone can do just to bring them not only closer to God, but also closer to their self-worth and their gifts and just, like you said, the meaning of life. It's really, right now, a lot of people are challenged with just that simple sentence, what is the meaning of my life? What is the gift that I'm here to bring? Or is it just to exist? And I definitely feel, God blessed me with my gift very early on. It was a very clear message for me. But some others, really, this book will help them through their journey of processing that sentence or that question. And the other book that I just discovered going on to her website last night, which you guys got to check it out, Evolve to Love, or SabrinaLawton.com. Really incredible, a great website. And we're going to go over another super cool thing that she does at her leadership meetings that I love saying the name, but you got to hold on for that one. Okay. So the other book is called Keep Your Sexy Sacred. Keep Your Sexy Sacred. Yes, and she definitely practices what she preaches. Holy moly. All right, so I would recommend you call in and ask questions, because here we go. The first caller, we're going to give away a copy of Keep Your Sexy Sacred away. So if you have a question for my guest today, that will be your incentive. So don't be shy, okay? And obviously, she's a world of knowledge, so you can ask anything you want. All right, so you have these two books. Which one came first?
So Keep Your Sexy Sacred came first, and that was really a difficult book. It was a book that I say wrote me more so than me writing it. It was definitely a calling to take my life story, take my walk through the darkness, take my walk through being molested early on and having my sexual centers open and discussing what we might consider a taboo topic. But what I realized in my quest for love was that there was guidance on this topic. There was grace on this topic. There was mercy. There was forgiveness. There was understanding. And I wanted women and men alike to understand that no matter how you were indoctrinated in your relationships, no matter if there was something egregious done against your soul when you were younger that caused you to do things that were, you might consider inappropriate, there is a path out and you are loved. And for me, again, I'd mentioned that I had been looking for love in all the wrong places and faces, because what I'd later come to find was that I was looking for my Father's love through men, and that never filled the God-shaped void within me. So Keep Your Sexy Sacred really gives you the tools and the power, the wisdom and the understanding to look at yourself as greater than flesh, to understand yourself entirely as spirit. And then you have this new perspective on how you can you use your experiences to really serve your life going forward, that you would serve others as well.
Okay, wow. Okay, amazing. So we do have a caller, Sabrina.
Awesome.
So we are open to any gender, obviously.
Yes,
So
indeed.
we have John. Good morning, John. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Joanne, and good morning, Sabrina. Just
Hey.
tuning into the a program there. It was very interesting to hear the background of life experiences. I guess the question I have for Sabrina, not in specifically of circumstances, was how hard was it in your journey of just life in general of forgiveness? Because I've had a lot of problems with that over the years, even in grief groups that I'm going to, and I explain to the people, the counselors even, and fellow grief folks, that it's something that it still seems hard to do. It's just when you think you got over it, you're good with it, you turn around and those feelings start to arise. And I'm a believer too, and I know just as God forgave me, I'm to forgive others. But I was wondering if you struggle with that along your path of life.
Absolutely. Awesome question, John. I certainly have, and I do know the difficulties of forgiveness. And I'll give you two things. The first thing, John, is you've forgiven when you can say, thank you for giving me that experience. You see, that word forgiving is right in the middle there. Thank you
Yes.
for giving me that experience. Now, the only way we get there, right, is to look at how it created who we are, how it informed who we are, right? I hear a gentle voice in you. I hear kindness in you. probably the opposite maybe of what you experienced. And so we need your kindness. We need your gentle spirit, right? Maybe you wouldn't have had that experience. Maybe you wouldn't be the John you are today. All of those wonderful attributes had you not gone through what you've gone through. So that's how you want to reharness that. You want to take another look so that you can see it with more 20/20 vision and get to the point where you can say, I recognize that that person who hurt me was simply serving me from their own plate, right? We know the word, and we know that because we're in the image and likeness of God, a lot of the times that life is just a mirror projection of what's going on inside of us. And so I had to realize that when my mother, said things that were unkind to me, she was first saying those unkind things to herself. So again, going to thank you for giving me that experience. Another key attribute to forgiveness, I really believe is that you want to look at God would not allow you to go through anything that he wouldn't bring you through. And so continue that work, continue to stay in that word, and you will continue to shine bright, John.
And John, you also received the complimentary book that Sabrina wrote. Okay, so would you like to come to the store and pick that up, or would you like to pick it up at the station?
I could pick it up there at your store. I've been meaning to come by to get the. I spoke with you a couple of weeks ago about the probiotics, and it's just a couple of things. I'm trying to get some things squared away after my dad passed away and everything. That's what made me think about it when I.
Well, we would love to see you, and I always make a joke. I offer free hugs 24/7. So
Me too, John.
so try to come in, and if you can get yourself going in the next half hour, Sabrina will be at the store 11 to 12. So if you want to come meet her, and like I said, you can pick up this beautiful book and kind of get you going. It does seem that it's a little geared towards that female psyche, or no, Sabrina?
Not at all. Let me tell you, the reviews that I receive from men are phenomenal. This is for anyone.
Good.
This is for anyone.
Yeah, because
that
I hadn't
really
read it
wants
yet,
to
so I
evolve.
really wasn't sure.
Absolutely. You're going to
Okay.
love it, John. I believe that it was perfectly.
Yeah.
Today was a great day to speak with you. I'm excited to meet you.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, John. I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Okay, we'll do. Thank you very much, too.
Awesome.
Have a blessed day
Okay,
now.
you
as well.
too.
Okay, bye-bye.
What a wonderful call. And I know, forgiveness seems to be an overall tone. And like you mentioned in your personal story, there's many males and females that have gone through verbal abuse, sexual abuse. And I wonder, because it seems like 1 out of 2, but there are so many people that have tucked it away in their closet, so to say, and have never brought it to the light. And so I wonder if it's more than that. It's that, that would be a crazy number and a very sad number, but I think it's important that we do keep leading people to that. Forgiveness is always the path that will bring more light.
Absolutely.
Right? More light for sure. And I don't know, you're much better with see, we talked about it before, like the Psalms and all the things, but it got me through my darkest day. And you mentioned in your book, and I totally related to it when I went through, finding out about my ex-husband's infidelity and, his whole other life, and it was just, bringing me to the point of suicide. I literally had to plug in my ears and my visual constant scriptures about forgiveness and healing and beauty for your ashes over and over again, just to put my feet on the ground and head to another day. And when I so related to that, I was like, oh my God, I was the same way. I just had to keep filling myself with that just to be alive.
Absolutely.
Just to be alive. And I'm so glad now on the other side of it, it's like crazy, because I'm like, oh yeah, people ask me, gosh, why do you have such a great relationship with that person, or why? And I said, why not? I'm like, I would only be holding that poison in. It's not like he feels that.
Right.
It's like, so why would I let him take another day of my joy or my light? Why?
Absolutely.
So yeah, and there are always like, and I can relate to John with the loss of both my parents. You're right, but John, trust me in this, and I think anyone gone through the journey, that it just gets brighter and brighter every day, because you feel their peace, you feel their love, and yes, we're here and they're in the in heaven, but it's kind of like, all right, I can do this.
Absolutely.
I can do this. I still feel them every day.
Beautiful.
Oh, all right. So I'm super excited. I hope you brought more copies of this book, or did you not? It's okay if you didn't. Just the one? Okay.
But we will meet again.
That's okay. So, John, I might kind of like, go through the book a little bit before it gets into your wonderful hands. All right. So we talked about that book. Now I would like to get back to this book because I have to tell you another quick story. So I drove another friend to Fort Lauderdale yesterday because she had a doctor's appointment, and she was getting a procedure done where she couldn't drive herself. So we're in the waiting room, and to study for today's morning show, I decided to take your book with me. Celia lent me her copy, and I was going to read it. So I pull it out, and she's really nervous because she does not like needles. And so she was feeling anxious, and then she was anxious that her blood pressure might get a little too high. So she takes the book, and she starts reading out loud in the waiting room. She's going through it. She's praying out loud. She's reading every word you're written. And, it was wonderful. She focused on that versus what was ahead. And, sure enough, she went in. The procedure went perfectly. She said she didn't even see the needle, feel the needle, came out full of smiles. And, she was just like, she felt that the surgeon had, God's hands. And just, it was amazing. So I definitely thank you for, making that book in my hands at the right place. I always,
blessing.
right? Another divine blessing. So tell us why you decided to do it like a devotional with the exercises in mind. What made you come to that decision?
Absolutely. So as I was writing Keep Your Sexy Sacred, I got an email out of the blue from a publisher that said, hey, we look for our authors to write books, and we would love for you to write a daily devotional. Would you interview for this position? We'll go ahead and, pay you to write this devotional. And I thought, well, wow. And I said, well, God, are you kidding? I'm already writing this one book, which, as you can imagine, is a lot on your heartstrings and your soul. But I said, you know what? If you present this to me, I can do it. At best, if it wasn't from you, I would do the interview and they would decide to choose another author. Well, as fate would have it, they chose me.
Wonderful.
And as I started writing the devotional, it became very clear what God wanted to do. And that was to use my pain to show that there's power in your pain. I think it was a Jan Van Zant that said pain had an acronym. And that acronym is Pay Attention Inward Now. And so what I realized was that if I could tell all of my stories, from divorce, from the car accident, from molestation, from, navigating my way through life circumstance, if I could share that story, not just from a problem format, but from a solution, from the glorious solutions format, so that we can see the gift in everything. That's what I realized I was being propelled to do. So at the end of every devotional, first, each devotional is led with a scripture that really opens our eyes to think in the way of God. Really, remember, God said God doesn't think like man, which is great because now we can get out of our minds, which a lot of the times is the thing that kills us more than anything, right? Be transformed by the renewal of your mind, and that's so important. And so with the leading scriptures, I go in and I tell a personal story of pain in any category of life, which we've all traveled through, whether it even be our children or someone outside of our path, whether it be corporate America dealing with disease. I was in chronic pain for 6 years after that car accident. Thankfully, I'm in my 7th year, and YoFlo was actually born out of that pain. So there again, the power in your pain. Because I could no longer do yoga for a while, I found myself on my living room floor with beautiful music stretching into my body in a way that supported my healing. And then all of a sudden, when I was about 95% healed, I heard, it's called Yo Flow. Now share it with the world.
Okay, so there it is. That's my favorite new word, Yo Flow. It's awesome. I mean, I did see on your website, and Celia loved it, and she gave me like a little presentation of it. But I love the name. I love the concept, and I just incredible. I'm so glad that came to you. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So the devotional also, ends with a prayer, and it has a prompt for you. So there's a question at the end of every devotional that's related to devotional that allows you to journal, allows you to really make it applicable to your life and make decisions every single day. How do I choose to see this? How do I choose to see the gift in it? How do I choose to move forward today? And taking that action, the power of words, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. The power of words are immense, and life and death do lie in the power of the tongue. And it took me a long time to stop retelling myself the negative messages that I picked up growing up, or that even came through my bloodline. It took a long time for me to understand that, but I truly do now have a grasp on the power of words, and it's super exciting to share that with others.
Yes, just one word. I mean, I always tell people that one word can make your day or ruin your day. And so you got to, really, I try to be as kind and compassionate with others. But, like what I would say I would need your help with is, why is it that a lot of us that are trying to be very kind, if we do one thing wrong or say one thing wrong, and then we feel not worthy, or we feel this terrible guilt. Does the devotional kind of help you with that?
Absolutely. I struggled with guilt and shame for so long, Joanne, for most of my life, I would say. And it's really beautiful to now be on the other side of it, to understand why I suffered through it. Jesus had to suffer in order to take away suffering, right? There's that. And I'm not coming from a religious perspective. I'm coming from a perspective of what were the messages of love that were taught, and what happens if we choose to embody those. And so to answer your question, it takes me back to forgiveness. We truly do. And here's another incentive for forgiveness for those of us that really need to hone in on that. Another incentive is we become the thing we despise. I remember
Yes.
when I was upset with my mom. And then I remembered when my daughter was 4, she's 11 now, how I saw myself being my mom in my tone.
Isn't it crazy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so we truly do tend to become the thing we despise. So let's look at that, and let's unpack that individually, each for ourselves, which is really that act of being still and knowing, right? Going within, where true understanding, true wisdom resides. That's why I love your breathing technique, Joanne, because really, if we look at that word breathe, and you'll find that I love the power of words, you'll find that in both books. If you look at that word breathe and you break that down, what you really have is be earth.
Oh, I love how you do that with all the words. It's like puts a good visual there, I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so what that is inviting us to is, that breath of God. How simple to come back to your center, being one with all that is in the earth, every experience that the earth has to offer you, and figuring out how Paulo Coelho said in the book The Alchemist, how you can truly turn metal into gold. You can truly turn pain into power. I bet you if you really think about any person you admire, there's some adversity that they overcame.
Always.
Always.
Yes.
And so going back to not feeling guilty and not feeling ashamed, for me, what I realized in my personal walk and in my journey was that every negative thing that I did, infidelity is addressed in this book, Keep Your Sexy Sacred, as well. Every negative thing, everything that, I could have been quote unquote stoned for, right? Let he who has not sinned cast the first stone, right?
Yep.
Everything that I knew at a certain point that I had to travel through that darkness to get to the light. And once I got to the light, and on the way to the light, it was an understanding that darkness is over, that that darkness is done, that now I could alchemize it. I would not be able to be a guide for helping us to keep our sexy sacred, both men and women alike, had I not known what it was like to not keep my sexy sacred. So I am grateful for that journey. We all have to walk through that valley of the shadow of death or darkness in order to get to the light. So the guilt and shame goes away when we start to realize that even that was a part of our journey.
That's a great way to look at it. Oh, I love it. And you know what I also love about the book, Each Day a Gift, is the idea of reconnecting to Earth, reconnecting to nature. And I know that one of your early, I would do prompt, you're calling them prompts, is, go out in nature. And I remember Celia saying, both of us are just a quick walk to the water. I mean, how blessed to have water near us. And so she says, she's going to take her coffee time there. And I'm like, well, I could do that too.
Yes.
I mean, I could walk, 2 blocks and, see the water and just reconnect. It's crazy sometimes, like how years can go by. I mean, I've been near the water for years. And I don't ever go in the middle of the day. But yet Sunday, like when we go with the family, it's like this huge event. I'm like, but every day I could connect to that Mother Nature. And
Absolutely.
so I love that you put that as, and I call them exercises. But, sometimes we just overlook things. Like I have friends that live on the beach and they'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't walked on the beach or been on the beach in months. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'd be out there every morning, but I say that. Don't know if I would do that, but so are all the prompts that practical, like where it's easy to do for anybody?
Absolutely. This is going to be applicable to day-to-day life experience. Speaking of the power of simplicity, of taking a walk on the beach, right? Noticing, the grains of sand, noticing how, finite we are and how beautiful and big life is.
Right.
And,
it's huge.
Absolutely. And then what we are able to do, as you said, is we're able to connect with God in everything. There's a scripture that says, ask the birds of the air and they'll tell you. Well, I remember, that particular devotional, I was feeling, guilty that day. I was feeling like, oh, my friends needed me. I was getting phone calls. Maybe I needed to be doing something at the house, but my soul longed to be on that lake. I was in the midst of writing these books. My soul longed to be on that lake. I longed to just shut everything out. And that's where I saw this beautiful mother bird who she felt like the presence of God to me. She was watching over me and just giving me the inspiration to actually develop that devotional. So you know what? I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing that day, regardless of what the world told me that I was supposed to be doing. And if you look at nature, you'll see that they spend a lot of time relaxed. They spend a lot of time in peace. What would happen?
I always say I'm coming back as one of those creatures because all they do is enjoy nature and lay around.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
And we could benefit from adding that into our daily regimen. It's amazing.
Some stillness.
What a 5-minute moment of stillness or a 10-minute walk on the beach will do to literally transform your day. And one way I want to illustrate that too, as an example of just the power of things like water. Dr. Emoto wrote about the secrets of water. Yes, that's an awesome book, isn't it, Joanne?
Incredible book.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And in fact, in one of my devotionals, I think I reference him, and I also reference,
so cool.
Isn't it cool how, water, we are 70% water, right? And 30% mass. Earth is 70% water and
no
30%
coincidence there.
mass, right? So let's think of it this way. If the blood in our body is water, whatever words we're feeding ourselves, whatever thoughts we're thinking, whatever food we're eating, it's all becoming a part of the chemistry of our water, our internal water. So we want to make sure that we're feeding ourselves the water in our body, the blood in our body, positivity, love, peace. That word disease, it's no coincidence that if you break it down in 2 parts, it spells dis-ease. So being in a constant state of dis-ease affects our internal water. And I can say that because I know that the chronic pain that I've been in and that thankfully I'm able to heal from, that really was not only the car accident. Oh, but that was a lot of trapped energy at the cellular level within my bloodstream and my myofascial and my muscles that needed to come up and out into the surface. So I encourage you all that are listening to really take the time to feel it, to heal it, whatever that thing is.
And we've been studying the vagus nerve this week, really spending a lot of time on that subject. And we also were watching this other documentary about the myofascia. And when under a microscope, it looks like this whole teleoptic communication world, like fiber optic, teleoptic. I just made a new word. So I do that all the time on my show, Sabrina. I make new words every day. It's like I just bumble them together. But the fiber optics, it's amazing. And the vagus nerve, what's so crazy about your yo flow is that it goes along with, so for any of my listeners that don't know what the vagus nerve is, it's this super cool like conduction from your back of your brain all the way to your organ systems. And there's a lot that's not understood about it because it's so amazing. But what is understood is music, prayer, and movement. And number one thing is cold, which I think it's like crazy, right? But cold, those are the best stimulators for this system, and it affects your mood, your physical body, your organ health. So your practice of yo flow, the science backs it up. It like completely backs up, even though you felt that you were gifted that the name and the movement as you're laying in there in pain. Like I was like, oh my God, all the science. She's basically stimulating the major system to bring health. So tell us more about that. And I know it's hard because people might need a visual, but describe it a little bit in case someone's new to even yoga, they're not really understanding the concept.
Absolutely.
Oh, but first, very first, we have Jerry calling. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Thank you for taking my call, Joanne. Good morning, ladies. I was wondering, I was watching a thing on CNN the other night about the Kennedy assassination, and they were saying that they held a requiem, if I'm pronouncing it right, requiem mass for John F. Kennedy. I wonder if you could just give a layman an idea of what a requiem mass is. And I'd like to listen off air if that'd be okay.
That's fine, Jerry. No problem. Okay, so I might need, did either of you catch what Jerry mentioned that he had? He said a mass. So unfortunately, all right, so Jerry, I'm going to have you call back and...
It's a little off subject.
Yeah, I think it's off subject, but I love learning, and I would love to give you an answer if there is one to be gotten, but I think it might be too off topic for our guest today. But just give a holler back and have her write down the name of that mass that you mentioned, and if I can bring it into the show maybe next week, I will. All right, but thank you for calling. All right, so...
So to answer your question, to answer your question, Joanne, about yo flow and how that all works, if you could imagine your body where you are right now, sitting in your car, in your living room, listening, drinking your coffee, wherever you are right now, you are not just this physical body. If you were to place your arms out to either side, and either side of you, or place them up above you, and then you were to round yourself out, or if you were to scoop your arms up and take a breath, all of that is your energy. All of that is your body. And so when we're in pain, we're fragmented. We are not connecting, right? Our human self, if we are really a circle, right? Because that's what that would form. If we're a circle, we're not really connected then. Maybe we're off center with ourselves. So Yo Flow is designed to give you the movements necessary to be that temple again, to find yourself right back seated in your soul. It's a flow with music. it's just a beautiful melody, and you literally are connecting your movement with the music at the same time in this beautiful synchronicity that brings you back into this state of being that is your authentic nature. That is how God created you to be.
I love that. Oh, I love that. And I was watching another documentary and it was talking about that, how, we definitely encompass more than what our physical body is limited to. And there are more people that are understanding it now. And I think once you have a personal experience, then you have that aha moment. You're like, oh, now I get it. And that's really been my principle, is never to treat anyone, an organ for a pill or a problem for a pill. It's always like, how are you? What's going on with you? Because so many times we're programmed. I have high blood pressure. What pill do you have? I have high cholesterol. What pill do you have? I have anxiety. What pill do you have? And I'm like, no, it's been 35 years. I think I've evolved to a point. Evolved. You like it? I used your word. I used your word.
Yes.
I definitely evolved to a point where we know there's more to the conversation.
Absolutely.
So much more. And what I definitely want to bring this to is you definitely, our listeners, if they're like, well, this all sounds great, but how do I get help with the things that I'm struggling with on my journey? You do offer consultation services, correct?
Yes, I do.
Is it like coaching, or how do you phrase what you do for people?
I'm a spiritual advisor.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Do you want to, in case anyone has to scoot out of listening, you want to kind of take a few minutes to really cover how they can find more about you, how they can reach you if they need your services? That way, if anyone has to get back to work at 11, you've definitely covered it.
Awesome. Absolutely. So as a spiritual advisor, what I do is I take you through the darkness of your life so that you would get to the life and truly, essentially create a life you love. I do a program where thankfully we only have to work for as many as 4 sessions. Really, I see huge transformations. And when I say that in humility and with grace of the anointing, because I can't do this alone. It really does come from, within. It's God's gift that I get to exercise. It gives me my experiences that you'll learn about as you read my book, Each Day a Gift or Keep Your Sexy Sacred. They were the experiences that I needed to inform me about what you're going through. Most of the time, in every case, whatever my clients are going through, I'm pretty sure I've gone through it too, or I've gotten the tools and just the right information to share with them to get them through it. And it is unconventional. I work with therapists. I work with change agents. So I've worked with people that, even religious people from all different backgrounds as well, that are still stuck. And I show them the path to, here's why you're stuck. Here's how the pattern is being repeated. And what we do essentially is, I think it was Dr. Phil who said in his book, Self Matters, that every one of us has about 7 to 10 defining moments in our life that affects the way we think, who we are, what we do, what we believe. And so I am equipped and anointed to help you to discover what those defining moments are so that you can redefine them and they will no longer define you.
Oh, I love that. I could definitely name 4 of those 7. Yeah. See, I'll save you a day with our meetings,
You
right?
got it.
There we go. Well,
Love
that's
it.
wonderful. And I hope all our listeners not only hear your sincerity, but your approachability. I think sometimes females, we get into that competitive mindset, and it's just, oh, well, she can't identify with me because, look at her. She's gorgeous, or she's super thin, and she, has the very handsome husband.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, very handsome, wonderful husband, and 2 beautiful children. Yes, and our daughters are the same age, right? And we actually live 5 minutes away from each other. Another new discovery, isn't that amazing? Yes. So, that competitive mindset, which I struggle with, not in terms of, I always honor that other person, but I'm like, oh, I don't want her to help me because, it's intimidating. It's intimidating when you feel like, that person has already achieved what you keep struggling for, and you keep repeating those terrible patterns, even though you know better. But you are so approachable, and you just really have such grace about you, Sabrina. And so I definitely feel like not only would I love to sign up, but I think that my other listeners, I really hope they feel your passion for what you do. I definitely will get a copy of Keep Your Sexy Sacred. I honestly, it really is big. I in the last year, the loneliness that I felt from I don't mean to say just females, but really I have women coming in that are over 50 and feeling like this last year they are not recognizable to themselves in the mirror. They feel so anxious, so lonely, so depressed. Most of the time there are tears shed within the first 10 minutes of conversing, and I'm hugging and trying my best, but I think that you definitely have tools and experience and this gift, that you can help them. So I hope all these wonderful customers are, listening, and we'll give you a call. So if they do want to reach you and they can't get to the store in the next hour, how would they reach you?
Absolutely. Go to my website, evolvetolove.com. Alternatively, you can get there by typing my name, Sabrina Lawton, LAWTON.com. And what you'll find there is, an opportunity and an invite for you to subscribe, to really join this YoFlow movement that's going to put you in a state of peace and calm and all of that good stuff. And I've got a YoFlow app coming up so that you can do YoFlow right from your phone and right from your home. So definitely subscribe so that you continue to be on my newsletter so that you can get that information. And there's also a way for you to engage in my spiritual advising by completing a form there. So, yeah.
Sabrina, guess who's on the line? Celia, good morning.
Good morning to some fabulous, fabulous friends. I wanted to, this is a comment. I just want to thank you both for sharing your talent with all of us.
Aww.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate your joy and your knowledge.
Thank you, Celia.
You're so beautiful and
amazing.
sweet, Celia. Thank you, honey. Are you going to be at the store?
Oh, I'm on my way.
Awesome. All right. So, yep, I kind of announced in the very beginning that everyone has to try to come beat you because I know how much you love the book, and you pretty much you're a gift of giving. This woman is... Yes. Oh, our Treasure Coast would not be the same without Celia.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh. She's just a loving, giving soul.
I cannot wait to give you such a big hug, Celia. You are amazing. You're a beautiful soul.
We'll see you in about 12 minutes, okay?
Okay, I'll be there. I look forward to seeing
Thanks
you.
for calling.
The time's up. All right, Jerry, I'm sorry we missed your call. All right, I hope everyone has a beautiful, beautiful week. Sabrina, thank you so much. I feel so blessed, and we're not saying goodbye, though, because I'm taking her to the store.
Awesome.
So everyone, come visit Nutrition World, and I'll see you soon. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Joanne's World of Nutrition. Brought to you by Nutrition World every Thursday morning between 10:05 and 11. Right here on Digital 1590 WPSL. And now they head for the store. Joanne's Nutrition World, US 1 at Orange Avenue, across from City Hall in Fort Pierce. You get to meet Sabrina right there. They're going to head over there. Right now, they'll be there in about maybe 10 minutes or so. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast. Webcaster to the world.